Ryan sat alone near the edge of the mining colony, the faint glow of the evening sun painting the rocky ground in soft orange and gold. The wind carried the scent of burnt metal from the nearby refineries, but Ryan did not notice it. He was focused on the simple meal in his hands: some bread, dried fruit, and a small portion of preserved protein cubes. Most days, this was all he could manage, but he was grateful for it. The stars were beginning to appear, one by one, in the growing darkness above. As he chewed slowly, he felt a presence nearby. At first, he thought it was another miner returning from work, but when he looked up, he froze. Two figures moved cautiously along the rocky slope. They were not human. Their skin was pale green with faint streaks of silver that caught the sunlight. Their eyes were large, dark, and reflective, almost like glass mirrors. Ryan had seen aliens before at trade stations and through holofeeds, but never this close. And never alone. The taller of the two, who introduced herself as Alen, paused a few steps away. Her sister, Myra, stayed behind, clearly unsure about approaching. They were both thin, but their movements were careful and deliberate. Ryan noticed the way Myra kept glancing toward the sky, as if expecting someone to appear from above. He could tell they were nervous, perhaps even afraid. Ryan swallowed his bite and said softly, "You are far from home. Are you hungry?" Alan's eyes widened. She hesitated, then nodded. Myra looked at her sister, then at Ryan, silently asking a question. Ryan understood. He gestured toward the small meal beside him. "You can share it with me," he said. For a long moment, neither sister moved. Then Alan stepped closer, holding her hands carefully in front of her. She glanced at Myra, and finally, they both approached the small fire Ryan had built. They sat down on the cold rocks, a cautious distance away, and Ryan offered them the bread first. Alan took it slowly, examining it like it was something fragile. Myra followed, nibbling on a piece of dried fruit. Ryan smiled. "It is not much, but it will keep you from being hungry." The sisters looked at him curiously. Most humans they had encountered were busy, suspicious, or openly hostile. Yet here was one, offering food without question or fear. There was no weapon, no hidden motive, just kindness. Alan spoke first, her voice soft and musical. "Why do you give to us?" Ryan shrugged. "Because it is right. Everyone deserves food if they need it. That is all." Myra tilted her head, studying him. "You are different from others," she said. Ryan laughed quietly. "Maybe. Or maybe I just do not want to watch anyone suffer if I can help." He paused and gestured toward the horizon. "The stars are vast. Life is short. Sharing a meal is not much, but it can matter." For the first time, the sisters relaxed a little. The tension in their shoulders eased, and they began to eat more freely. Ryan offered them water from his canteen. They drank slowly, the liquid unfamiliar to them, but they appreciated it. As the meal continued, Ryan asked about their journey. Alan explained in halting common language that they were traveling far from their home world. Their colony had been raided, and they had lost much of their supplies. They did not trust most humans or alien species because of past betrayals. Myra added that they had been alone for many days, avoiding patrols and larger ships. Ryan listened carefully. He did not interrupt, nor did he offer advice unless asked. He understood that trust was fragile, and it must be earned. His calm presence seemed to comfort the sisters. When the sun fully disappeared and the first stars became bright points in the sky, Ryan leaned back. "The night can be cold and dangerous," he said. "If you want, you can rest here near the fire. I will keep watch." Alan and Myra exchanged glances. Then Alan nodded slowly. We thank you, human," she said. "It is rare to find kindness in the galaxy." Ryan smiled. Perhaps it is rarer than we think. But that does not mean we should stop trying. The three of them sat in silence as the stars filled the sky. Ryan felt a quiet sense of hope. In that moment, nothing else mattered: the past, the raids, the dangers. They could wait. Here, by a small fire on a rocky slope, a human and two alien sisters shared a simple meal. It was a small act, but it was the beginning of something much greater. Ryan did not know it yet, but this encounter would change the path of his life and, eventually, the fate of humanity itself. For now, he simply offered warmth, food, and trust. For now, that was enough. The fire crackled softly, sending sparks into the cool night air. Ryan watched the two alien sisters, Alan and Myra, as they ate. Their movements were careful but no longer tense. The warmth of the flames mixed with the calmness of the stars, creating a space where worry and fear could fade, even if only for a little while. Ryan broke a piece of bread and handed it to Myra. "This is good for energy," he said. "You will need strength for your journey." Myra accepted it and smiled faintly. She had not smiled freely for many days. Alan watched her sister and then turned to Ryan, curiosity in her eyes. You do not fear us?" she asked quietly. Ryan shook his head. "Fear does not help anyone," he said. "I do not know you, but I can see you are not here to harm. That is enough for me." Alan and Myra exchanged glances. Their eyes were large and reflective, but now they carried something softer, almost like relief. Most humans they had met kept distance or held weapons. Yet Ryan had given them food without hesitation. He had spoken gently. And he had offered safety without condition. "Where are you from?" Myra asked, her voice still careful. "From the mining colony near the star," Ryan said. "I grew up here. I know these lands. I know the rocks and the skies and the storms. And I know how to survive." Alan leaned closer. "You are brave to travel here alone at night." Ryan smiled. "Bravery is not what matters. Caring is. And sharing food is brave only if you think it is dangerous. But sometimes the danger is smaller than the kindness." The sisters listened. They had been taught by their people that trust in humans was often dangerous. Yet this human, Ryan, seemed different. His words carried honesty, and his eyes were steady. Slowly, they began to speak more openly. Alan told Ryan about their home world, a small colony hidden among a cluster of distant stars. It was a place of mountains and forests, rivers and tall spires built from crystal-like stone. She described how her people worked to live in harmony, cultivating food and sharing resources fairly. Myra added that even among their own species, life could be hard. Some colonies were stronger, some weaker, and danger often came from rivals who wanted control. Ryan listened with quiet attention, nodding when he could. He asked questions, not to test them, but to understand. "Your world sounds beautiful," he said. "Do you miss it?" Myra's eyes shimmered. "Always," she said. "But we cannot go back yet. There is danger there." Ryan felt a pang of empathy. He knew what it meant to leave home and feel uncertain about the future. "Then we will help each other," he said simply. "Tonight, you rest. Tomorrow, we find the safest path forward." For a moment, the three of them sat in silence, letting the stars and the fire fill the space between them. Then Ryan reached into his pack and pulled out a small water container. He offered it to Myra and Alan. "Drink," he said. "You need strength." The sisters drank carefully. Myra looked at Ryan. "You are kind," she said. "Kindness is rare among humans. We were told stories, and we expected fear or anger. But you do not need to be afraid," Ryan said. "If I have food and fire, I can share them. That is all a person should need to help another." Alan tilted her head, studying him. She had not met many humans who spoke with such calm certainty. "You are not like others," she said. "I am like some others," Ryan said with a small shrug. "But perhaps I was lucky to see you without fear. Or maybe it is luck you saw me the same way." Myra laughed softly, the sound light and musical. It was the first laugh Ryan had heard from anyone in weeks. Even the coldness of the night could not touch it. Alan smiled as well. The bond was growing. As the fire began to die down, Ryan leaned back against a rock. "Tomorrow, we must decide where to go," he said. "The night is safe here, but the stars are wide, and danger travels fast." Alan nodded. "We will follow your lead for now," she said. "You have shown courage, and that matters." Ryan felt a strange warmth in his chest. It was not only from the fire. He realized that in this moment, trust was forming between species. Not through orders or force, but through simple acts: food, warmth, and attention. These small things could grow into something stronger than fear or weapons. The three of them sat quietly as the fire faded, listening to the wind across the rocks. Somewhere far above, the stars twinkled like silent witnesses to their meeting. And in that quiet, Ryan understood something important. The bond that had begun tonight could change everything. He did not yet know how, or when. But he felt it in the calm trust of two alien sisters, in their hesitant smiles, in the way they no longer looked like strangers. They were allies now, perhaps even friends. And from friendship, great things could grow. The first light of morning crept over the rocky horizon, painting the mining colony in shades of gold and pale blue. Ryan woke before the sun fully rose, as was his habit, and stretched beside the small fire that had survived the night. Alan and Myra were still asleep, curled close together on a bed of blankets they had carried. He watched them for a moment, noticing how peaceful they seemed when danger was not near. After a quick breakfast of preserved protein cubes and bread, Ryan spoke softly. "We need to move before the patrols start scanning the area," he said. The sisters nodded, their faces showing both trust and quiet concern. They followed him down the slope to where his small transport vehicle waited, covered by a thin tarp. Once seated inside, Myra finally spoke. "There is something we should tell you," she said. "Something important." Ryan glanced at her. "What is it?" he asked calmly. Alan hesitated but then nodded. "We carry knowledge," she began. "Knowledge our people have kept secret for generations. Maps. Routes. Paths through the stars that are unknown to most. Energy-rich worlds, hidden stations, places untouched by empires. If the wrong species finds them, it could mean war or even the end of some colonies." Ryan listened carefully, his hands gripping the steering lever of the vehicle. He had expected danger in the galaxy, but he had not known how close it could be. "Why tell me?" he asked. "Because we see in you something rare," Myra said. "Kindness, patience, courage. Most humans we meet are too busy or too afraid to care about others. We do not know if we can trust you completely, but after last night, we feel you are different." Ryan swallowed. The weight of their trust pressed lightly on him, but he did not flinch. "I will not use your knowledge for harm," he said. "And I will not betray your trust. But you should know, if others find you with me, I will protect you." Alan's eyes reflected a faint shimmer, like silver in sunlight. "Few humans speak with such certainty," she said. "We have learned to hide, to run, to avoid all attention. But your words, they feel honest." The vehicle hummed as Ryan activated its engines. He had repaired it from old parts found in the colony, and though it was not fast, it was reliable. The sisters leaned forward, looking at the landscape as they moved. Myra asked questions about the stars, the nearby asteroid fields, and the safest routes to avoid patrols. Ryan answered with patience, pointing out paths through the rocky terrain and hidden caves where they could rest if needed. Hours passed as they traveled. The sisters spoke more freely now, telling stories of their childhood on their home world. Alan described the tall crystal towers that reflected sunlight across rivers, and the gardens where her people grew food in harmony. Myra shared how the colony taught cooperation and patience, but also how harsh the galaxy could be. They had been forced to leave, to hide, and to survive alone. Ryan nodded, absorbing every word. "Your people are strong," he said. "Even in danger, you keep hope alive. That is something many humans forget." Alan smiled faintly. "We have had little reason to trust others," she said. "But now, we feel perhaps humans are not all like those who attacked our colony." Ryan glanced at her. "Humans can be good, and we can be stubborn. But we can choose to help when we see the chance. That is all that matters." As the sun climbed higher, the vehicle slowed near a small ridge. Ryan stopped and turned to the sisters. "We should rest here. The next stretch is rough, and I do not want us caught off guard." Myra nodded, and Alan leaned back, letting her shoulders relax. Then Alan spoke again, her voice quieter than before. "There is more. The maps we carry are not just routes. They lead to an ancient station, built long before any current empire. It has power. It can change the balance of the galaxy. Many have tried to find it, but none have succeeded." Ryan felt the gravity of her words. "If we find it, what then?" he asked. "Some would use it to control others," Myra said. "Some would destroy it to keep it safe. We do not know the right choice yet. That is why we travel cautiously. And that is why your help matters. Your people, they have shown bravery, but they also have compassion. Perhaps together we can do what is right." Ryan took a deep breath. The path ahead was dangerous. Many might hunt them, seeking the maps or the station itself. Yet he felt no fear. He felt responsibility. And he felt a quiet determination. "Then we move carefully," he said. "Together. I will help you, and we will decide what is right when the time comes." Alan's eyes shone with something like hope, and Myra finally smiled. In that moment, the bond between them strengthened. They were no longer just strangers sharing a meal. They were allies, bound by trust, courage, and a shared goal. Ryan started the vehicle again. As they traveled into the rocky valleys and toward the unknown, he knew one thing clearly. The galaxy was full of dangers, but he had discovered a truth more powerful than fear. Kindness could spark trust. Trust could spark courage. And courage could change the future. The sisters looked at him, and in their gaze, Ryan saw the possibility of a future none of them had imagined. For the first time in a long while, he felt that their journey could succeed. The shadows of the galaxy were wide and full of threats, but together, they would face them. And the secrets they carried, hidden for generations, might finally find the right hands to protect them. The sun climbed higher over the rocky valley, casting long shadows across the uneven ground. Ryan drove the small transport vehicle carefully, his eyes scanning the horizon for any signs of movement. Alan and Myra sat beside him, their expressions a mix of determination and worry. The sisters had trusted him with their secret, and now the weight of that trust rested heavily on all three of them. They reached a narrow canyon, its walls rising steeply on either side. Ryan slowed the vehicle, moving carefully through the jagged path. "This route is safer," he said. "Fewer patrols come here, and it gives us cover if someone is watching from above." Alan nodded. "You think we will be followed?" "Possibly," Ryan said. "The maps you carry are valuable. If someone knows you have them, they may try to take them by force. We must assume danger is near and act accordingly." Myra shivered slightly, though she tried to hide it. "We have run so long," she said. "Always hiding. Always afraid. How do we know this is the right choice?" Ryan glanced at her, his eyes calm but firm. We cannot know. But we can choose to act with care and courage. That is all we can do. For a long moment, the canyon was silent except for the hum of the vehicle and the faint wind against the rock walls. Then Alan spoke, her voice quiet but steady. We could continue alone. Leave you behind. No one would know where we went. Ryan shook his head. You do not have to make that choice. I will stand with you. If danger comes, I will protect you as best I can. You do not need to face it alone. Myra looked at him, surprise and relief mixing in her expression. You would do that? Even though you do not know us fully. Yes, Ryan said simply. Trust is something that must be earned, but I feel it is already here. You trusted me with your lives and secrets. I will not betray that. Alan and Myra exchanged glances. It was clear they had rarely seen such honesty in anyone, human or alien. Finally, Alan nodded. Then we choose together, she said. We face whatever comes, as one. The vehicle rumbled forward through the canyon, and Ryan guided them carefully around sharp turns and narrow drops. The terrain was unforgiving, but Ryan had grown up in these lands. He knew how to find the safest paths, where rocks could provide cover and where shadows hid dangers. As they drove, Myra asked, "What will happen if they catch us?" Ryan did not answer immediately. Instead, he thought of the possibilities. There were many enemies in the galaxy, and some would stop at nothing to control the maps. But he also knew that fear alone was not a solution. We will not let them take you or the maps, he said finally. We will defend what is right. And if we cannot fight, we will find a way to escape. Alan's eyes shone with quiet admiration. You speak with courage, she said. But not recklessness. That is rare. The journey continued in silence for some time. The sisters had grown accustomed to Ryan's calm and careful presence. It gave them a sense of safety they had not felt in many days. Yet the weight of their mission remained. They carried knowledge that could shift power across entire star systems, and they were being pursued by those who would use it for harm. At a narrow bend, the vehicle stopped suddenly. Ryan raised a hand to signal silence. Shadows moved across the canyon walls, shapes that should not have been there. Patrol scouts. Small, fast, and heavily armed. Alan's heart raced. We should run, she whispered. Ryan nodded. We will. But we must choose carefully. Rash action will get us caught. Follow my lead, and stay calm. The sisters glanced at each other, fear mixed with trust. They knew Ryan would not abandon them. Together, they had a chance. Alone, they would have had none. Ryan turned the vehicle slightly, hiding it behind a rock overhang. The patrol scouts passed without noticing them. The sisters held their breath, and Ryan's eyes never left the path ahead. When the scouts disappeared from view, he let out a quiet sigh of relief. That was close, Myra said softly. Yes, Ryan said. Too close to rely on luck. But it shows why we must choose our path wisely. Every decision matters, and we cannot afford mistakes. Alan placed a hand on Ryan's arm. We trust your choice, she said. We follow you. Ryan smiled faintly. Then we move forward together, he said. Careful, patient, and brave. That is all we need to face what comes next. The vehicle rumbled forward again, leaving the narrow canyon behind. The journey would not be easy, and many dangers awaited them. But for now, Ryan, Alan, and Myra had made a choice. They would face the shadows together, and their bond would grow stronger because of it. And in that choice, a quiet truth became clear. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act, even when danger is near, and to protect those who rely on you. That truth would guide them in the days to come, As their journey continued toward the unknown, the sky had darkened to a deep shade of blue, and stars glittered above as Ryan guided the small transport vehicle along a winding path through the rocky terrain. Alan and Myra sat close beside him, their eyes alert to every shadow and movement around them. The events of the morning had reminded them that danger was never far, and that even a single mistake could change everything. Ryan's hands gripped the controls tightly. "We need to move fast now," he said. "Something is following us." Alan leaned forward, her large eyes scanning the horizon. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice tense. Ryan pointed toward a faint glimmer in the distance. "Those ships," he said. "Patrol scouts. They are small but fast. They will track us if we are not careful." Myra's hand tightened around the edge of the seat. "We cannot let them find the maps," she said softly. Ryan shook his head. "We will not. We will escape, but we need to be clever. Follow my lead, and stay calm." The transport vehicle hummed as it moved faster over the rough ground. Rocks and dust flew around them as Ryan maneuvered carefully, using his knowledge of the terrain to his advantage. He drove through narrow passes, under overhanging cliffs, and across rocky slopes where the patrol ships could not follow easily. The sisters watched in awe. Humans rarely showed such skill in difficult situations. "Do you do this often?" Alan asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "Sometimes," Ryan said. "I know these lands. I know how to move where others cannot. It is not bravery, just experience." Myra nodded. "It is more than that," she said. "It is courage. Most would panic or hide. You act with purpose." The vehicle bounced over a rocky ledge, and Ryan adjusted the speed to avoid tipping. Sparks flew briefly from the undercarriage as the metal scraped against stones. "Hold on," he said, smiling faintly despite the tension. Alan and Myra leaned back, gripping the sides of the seats. "You make it sound easy," Alan said, though her voice held a trace of admiration. "Nothing in life is easy," Ryan said. "We just find ways to survive and protect what matters." Suddenly, a group of patrol drones appeared above them, hovering with sharp red lights scanning the ground. Ryan's heart raced, but he kept his voice calm. "We cannot go straight. Follow the canyon to the left. It is narrow enough to hide us from their sensors." The sisters glanced at each other, fear flickering in their eyes. Then they nodded, trusting Ryan's judgment. The transport veered sharply, dust rising behind them as they disappeared into the shadows of the rocky walls. Myra whispered, "Do you think they will follow?" "They may try," Ryan said. "But they cannot navigate these paths like I can. That is our advantage. We use the land to stay ahead." The chase continued, the patrol drones scanning, but unable to find them in the narrow passes and rocky outcrops. Ryan's skillful driving kept them just out of reach. For the first time since leaving their home world, the sisters felt a glimmer of hope. Alan's voice was quiet, thoughtful. "We did not expect a human to help us like this," she said. "Most would have ignored us, or worse." Ryan glanced at her. "Not all humans are the same," he said. "Some of us choose to help when we can. That choice makes a difference." The sisters exchanged glances, realizing how rare this trust and courage were. Their hearts had been heavy with fear, but Ryan's steady presence gave them confidence. For the first time in days, they began to plan, not just survive. Suddenly, the ground shook as one of the patrol scouts fired a warning shot. Sparks flew past the vehicle, and Ryan swerved sharply to avoid the impact. "Stay low and hold tight," he shouted. Alan and Myra pressed themselves against the seats, their eyes wide. Ryan's focus never wavered. He guided the vehicle through a series of sharp turns, leaping over small rock formations and using natural walls to shield them from attack. After several tense minutes, the drones finally lost their trail. Ryan slowed the vehicle, breathing heavily but keeping his calm outward. "We are safe for now," he said. "But we cannot stop. They will search. We need to find a place to hide and plan our next move." The sisters nodded, relief washing over them. Myra spoke first. "You saved us," she said. "Not just with skill, but with courage. You trusted us when no one else would." Alan added, "And we trust you. That is something we have not felt in a long time." Ryan looked at them, a quiet determination in his eyes. "Then we stay together. Careful, patient, and brave. That is our way forward. Whatever comes next, we face it as one." The small vehicle rumbled on, carrying the three of them deeper into the unknown. Behind them, the patrol scouts would search, but ahead lay the promise of safety, trust, and the possibility of hope. The bond between them had grown stronger in the chase, and the sisters now understood that courage and kindness could create allies in the most dangerous moments. The chase had begun, but together, they had learned that fear could be met with action, and danger could be met with determination. And in that moment, the first seeds of a greater journey were planted, one that would shape not only their lives but the future of many worlds. The small transport vehicle moved slowly through a narrow valley as the first light of dawn touched the jagged cliffs. Ryan's hands rested lightly on the controls, his eyes scanning the path ahead. Alan and Myra sat beside him, still tense from the chase the previous night. The weight of the secret they carried, the star maps and the hidden station, was heavy, and the danger that followed them was never far. After several quiet minutes, Alan turned to Ryan, her voice low. "You need to understand the full truth," she said. "The maps are not only routes to untouched worlds. They lead to something far more powerful, something our people have guarded for generations." Ryan listened closely. "What do you mean?" he asked. Myra took a deep breath. "Long ago, before any current empire, an ancient station was built in a hidden system. It has the ability to control energy flows across star clusters. It could bring prosperity or destruction, depending on who controls it. That is why our people have kept the map secret. And that is why others will kill to find them." Ryan's eyes widened slightly. He had faced danger before, but the thought of a station that could change entire star systems was beyond anything he had imagined. "So this station, it could make war or peace?" he asked. "Yes," Alan said quietly. "It is powerful, but dangerous. Many have tried to find it. Many have failed. And many who know its location seek to use it for control. That is why we must be careful. That is why we cannot allow it to fall into the wrong hands." Ryan nodded, absorbing the gravity of their words. "Then we need a plan," he said. "We cannot just run. We need to think ahead, to protect the maps and the station." Myra looked at him, hope and doubt mixing in her gaze. "Do you really understand what this means? If we fail, countless lives could be lost. Entire colonies could be destroyed." Ryan met her eyes steadily. "I understand enough. But I also know that running alone will not keep anyone safe. We need courage, trust, and careful action. That is how we survive, and how we protect what matters." Alan sighed softly. "We have never met a human like you," she said. "Most would be afraid, or greedy, or careless. But you see what is right, and you act with it." Ryan smiled faintly. "I do not know about being perfect. But I can choose to do what is right when it matters. That is all anyone can do." The vehicle climbed a steep ridge, revealing a wide plain below, scattered with rock formations and hidden valleys. Ryan stopped for a moment, scanning the area. "This will be our resting point," he said. "We can plan the next part of our journey safely here, at least for a short time." Alan and Myra stepped out, stretching their limbs and looking around cautiously. Myra asked, "Do you think anyone is following us still?" Ryan shook his head. "They may be watching from afar. We cannot know for sure. But we can hide and move smartly. That is our advantage. The sisters looked at the maps again. Alan traced the star paths with her fingers, explaining which systems were safe and which were dangerous. Myra added stories of previous explorers who had tried to reach the station and failed, some vanishing completely. Ryan listened carefully, memorizing the paths and learning the strategies needed to avoid detection. After a time, Ryan spoke. The station is not just a destination. It is a responsibility. Whoever controls it could change the galaxy. That is why we must act carefully and fairly. Not for power, but to protect life. Alan's eyes reflected a mixture of hope and relief. That is why we trusted you, she said. We knew you could see beyond fear or greed. You understand what matters. Myra smiled softly. And now, we know that we are not alone in this. Together, we have a chance. Ryan nodded. We do. But the journey will be difficult. Many will try to stop us. We need to stay united, careful, and brave. The vehicle rested as the sun rose higher, warming the rocky plain. The sisters and Ryan took a moment to breathe, to regain their strength before moving forward. In the quiet, a new understanding formed between them. It was no longer just about survival. It was about purpose, about choosing to protect what mattered even when danger was near. Ryan looked at Alan and Myra. We have a choice, he said. We can let fear guide us, or we can use courage, trust, and wisdom to shape our path. I choose the latter. Will you? The sisters nodded in unison. We will, Alan said. Together. Ryan smiled, a quiet confidence in his expression. He knew the road ahead would be challenging, full of danger and uncertainty. But for the first time, they felt that hope could guide them, and that together, they might succeed where others had failed. The revelation of the station's power had not terrified them. Instead, it had strengthened their resolve. The three of them were now united by trust, purpose, and a shared understanding of what was at stake. Whatever came next, they would face it as one, and their actions could shape the destiny of entire civilizations. The hidden station lay beyond a field of asteroids, its massive silhouette barely visible against the dark backdrop of space. Ryan guided the small transport vehicle carefully, Alan and Myra at his side. They had traveled for days, navigating treacherous paths, avoiding patrols, and staying ahead of those who sought the station for power. Now, after all the fear and danger, it was finally within reach. The sisters stared in awe as they approached. Its structure was vast and ancient, built from a material that reflected the starlight like crystal. Towers and panels rose from its surface, forming patterns that seemed both technological and artistic. It was a place of immense power, and yet it radiated quiet strength, as if it had waited patiently for the right hands to arrive. Alan spoke first. We have found it. After generations, it is here. But now comes the true test. Ryan nodded. Yes. The station is not just a destination. It is a responsibility. We must choose carefully how to use it. Myra added, many have tried to control it before. Some were destroyed. Some were corrupted. We must not repeat their mistakes. Ryan looked at the sisters, his eyes steady. Then we act wisely. Not for ourselves, but for everyone who might depend on this station. The vehicle landed gently on a platform near the station's entrance. Alan and Myra stepped out first, their movements cautious. Ryan followed, scanning the area for any hidden threats. The station was silent, almost peaceful, yet the power it contained hummed faintly, like a heartbeat beneath the metal. Inside, the corridors were wide and filled with light that seemed to shine without a source. Panels and consoles displayed symbols that neither Alan nor Myra had seen in years. They approached a central chamber, where a control console glowed with soft energy. The sisters explained that this was the heart of the station, where energy flows could be directed across star systems. Ryan examined the console carefully. "We have the power to protect life, or to harm it," he said. "We must act with wisdom." Alan looked at him. "That is why we trusted you. Humans are not the strongest or the fastest, but your compassion, your courage, it is rare and valuable. It can guide what we do here." Myra nodded. "We will follow your lead, and together, we will make the right choice." Ryan pressed a few controls, activating the station's systems. Energy flowed through channels, lighting panels, and activating fields that had been dormant for centuries. He paused, considering their options. "We could use this power to take control of nearby empires," he said. "We could dominate others. But that is not why we are here." Alan and Myra exchanged a glance, relief and admiration in their eyes. "We want balance," Alan said. "Safety for all. Peace, not domination." Ryan smiled faintly. "Then that is what we do. We will share knowledge, help those who are ready, and protect the station from those who would misuse it. That is the responsibility of anyone who finds it." The sisters moved closer, and together they entered the control chamber. Ryan guided their hands to panels and levers, showing them how energy could be monitored and directed without harm. Slowly, systems that had been silent for centuries came to life. The station hummed with purpose, its energy balanced and steady. Outside, sensors detected ships approaching, drawn by the faint signal of the station. Ryan, Alan, and Myra acted quickly. They activated defensive shields and camouflage systems, hiding the station from prying eyes. Those who had sought to control it could not find it. The station's power was safe, and its knowledge would be used wisely. Alan turned to Ryan. "You did not seek this for yourself," she said. "You could have taken control, but you chose to protect it. That is rare among all species." Ryan shook his head. "I did not seek power. I only wanted to do what was right. That is all any of us can do. And together, we can make a difference far greater than any one person." Myra smiled. "Then our mission succeeds. Not because of strength or speed, but because of courage and compassion. Humanity has shown us what true leadership can be." Ryan looked out at the stars, feeling a quiet pride. Their journey had begun with a simple act, sharing food by a small fire on a rocky slope. That act had grown into trust, courage, and a partnership that would shape the destiny of entire civilizations. For the first time, they allowed themselves to relax. The station was secure, the power balanced, and the galaxy held a new possibility. They had faced fear, danger, and uncertainty, but their choices had led to hope, unity, and a chance for peace. The stars above shone brightly, witnessing the moment when humanity's compassion and courage changed the fate of many worlds. Ryan, Alan, and Myra stood together in the control chamber, not as conquerors, but as guardians. And in that choice, the destiny of humanity and its allies had been forever transformed.